Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, back with a new LaserDisc pickup video for 2023. These all arrived just before Christmas, but before I go through these new LaserDiscs to add to my collection, I'm going to chat about the LaserDisc format, because when I do post these videos, people often say, what is LaserDisc? So basically, these were the home viewing format before DVD. So these kind of arrived in the late 70s, kind of fizzled out by 2001, with the majority of discs kind of arriving in Japan for the end of its kind of run. It wasn't a great success, you know. I think it penetrated like 1% of the home viewing market in the USA. In Europe, it sort of fared worse. In Japan, though, it performed extremely well. Well, not extremely well, but enough to sort of provide. I think a lot of people sort of preferred the format over there to the home video because of the rental market, so they're a bit more durable. And obviously the anime is a big thing on LaserDisc, so there's many people in the USA used to import LaserDiscs from Japan with these latest anime, and so, I don't know, some people sort of understood it, because it's all, you know, it wasn't dubbed over in English. So either people kind of knew Japanese or had a vague understanding of it, or just kind of watched it because it looked great, you know. I got into this format in the late 90s when DVD was also becoming very popular, and I jumped onto the format because the Superman films were available in widescreen on LaserDisc. Many collectors, you know, were selling off their you know, collections for peanuts. I managed to grab loads of LaserDiscs for like £5 each, or a player for like 90 quid. Like a bunch of discs from like, I think there's something called Free Ads, which was like a free newspaper where people kind of sold off their, you know, whatever. And that's how I kind of started. A Sony player that jumped onto a Pioneer, and a bunch of Pioneer players over the years, and some boutique players as well. And I've now onto a Pioneer CLD R7G, which is a very good player with a good noise reduction and so forth. LaserDisc comes in two formats. There's 60 minutes, which is CLV, and then there's CAV, which is 30 minutes. 60 minutes per side, obviously you can fit a movie on one disc. We also have to turn it over. Most players do have auto reverse, so the laser will just go and flip over. And then the 30-minute ones allows you to basically pause the picture perfectly, and you can step by step go through it. So watching some of your favourite action scenes, where most movies would have CLV for the majority of the film, and the last 30 minutes are in CAV, so you can kind of watch the big action sequences and the slow-mo stuff if you want to. You can pause the picture on CLV. Most players will have like a digital memory built in and store a picture on what you pause it on, but the picture's always rubbish. And some players don't even allow that. The picture will just go blue or just, you know, go black. So yeah, having CAV, which is a lot of the collectors ones, like this Criterion and the Star Wars collections as well. I mean, CAV was kind of a bit of a pain when you're watching a long movie, which is like, you know, 3 hours long. You've still got to change like 3 discs, you know. But yeah, that was the sort of downside. Obviously, you know, it looks like a giant CD. The audio on this is digital, but the picture is analog, so don't expect it to look like DVD. A different kind of flavour to the image compared to DVD. It doesn't have as many lines of resolution, but if you watch like a pan and scan LaserDisc, you know, it will look pretty good. So for a lot of people, they sort of plug in their LaserDisc into a modern TV, and it doesn't look great. A lot of people say your TV will upscale it, but it will only upscale it to like 480i. And then also you'll probably stretch the picture to 16:9, so it look rubbish. So you have to also make sure you adjust the picture. And if you play a widescreen movie on a modern TV, you've got to zoom in to make it fit the screen correctly. I use a video scaler to get the best results, so you can upscale it to 720p, 1080p, and some people upscale it to 4K, which is kind of a bit excessive. Yeah, so hopefully that gives you an idea, rough idea of what LaserDisc is. You know, it's a proper novelty thing now. It's a niche thing. You know, people like it because of the cover art, the gatefold sleeves, and there are some titles that aren't on DVD and Blu-ray, but I can't remember which ones they are. But there's a whole list on, I think, the LaserDisc database. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people now jumping onto the format due to probably other YouTubers, and there's forums where they talk about the format excessively, and people want to jump on board, which is great. But that also kind of, you see a lot of people overcharging for really common titles, especially like in Europe. They charge like £100 for just like bog standard releases. I'm like, you're insane, you're never going to sell that. You know? So I'm very picky about what I get as well, which you've probably seen some of my other LaserDisc videos, and I've been buying or importing loads of stuff from Japan. So you know, end up paying like 280 yen for a title where someone's trying to sell it for £40 in the UK. So yeah, just kind of be careful what you want to, you know, what you want to buy. But anyway, let's crack on with this, you know, update video, and I'll show you some of the films I got. First up is The Hunted, Christopher Lambert, John Lone as well, the guy from The Last Emperor and The Shadow, and Joan Chen, or she's also in The Last Emperor. It's a great movie. I mean, it's a bit silly in places, a bit overly long. The trailer was awesome, which has music from Dragon of Bruce Lee's story, which has been overused over the years. It comes with its OB slip, which is on the floor. I'll shoot close-ups of these so you kind of see it in a bit more detail. Doesn't come with any extras. Weirdly, it just has a stereo mix. It doesn't have Dolby Surround. It doesn't say it's encoded in Dolby Surround where the US version is. Maybe it's a misprint and it is actually encoded. I checked it through and the picture's very nice. It's not like mind-blowing, you know, but yeah, it's a good release. I mean, there is a special edition release of this on Blu-ray, which has been out of print for ages, which has a commentary and a featurette and stuff. So I've been trying to get hold of that, but it's a bit overly priced because I thought, you know, I might review this movie in future. Weirdly, you know, Christopher Lambert's kind of the main, sold as the main protagonist. Another character in the movie sort of takes over through the majority of it, and he's kind of become this sort of background character. But yeah, it's, you know, cost me like 300 yen. Up next is Superman 2. This is from 1989, this release. There was a prior one, obviously, which has very similar, I suppose that the border around it is very similar, but has the theatrical poster on the front cover. And this is weirdly very similar to the US videotape, which I got recently. I got Superman 1 to 3 from Japan, of all places, in really good condition. So yeah, it's kind of, as you can see, kind of the same colour design as well. This has a gatefold release, which is very nice. I mean, it's not as, we've got one coming up later on for Superman 3. That's a bit more of a better design. It's kind of you know, empty space in corners, but yeah, it's nice to have a gatefold for Superman. And you also got the back bit here, and it comes with production notes inside, which I'll shoot a close-up of. But yeah, no laser rot on this. Picture's quite nice. I mean, I own Superman 2 on LaserDisc 4 times now, which is a bit excessive as well. I got Japanese widescreen of this, the US widescreen, and a remastered pan and scan from the USA from around this time. So this might be the same transfer as the US version, which was in pan and scan. But this one is, I wanted this because it had the gatefold sleeve, and it, you know, cost peanuts again. So people, you know, you go on eBay and you probably see this. Someone's probably charging like 50 quid for this. It's like, no. Rip off, merchants. Next up is Highlander 3, which I do own, the US version, which is the Final Dimension, they call it, don't they? This one's called The Sorcerer, which is the international title. But when you play the movie, it is the Final Dimension. It's actually the director's cut, which has all the kind of extra CGI moments where they've got that kind of where the bad guy kind of teleports around the world. They basically use a time cop plug-in effect. We just say, you know, that warping bong bongs, you know, visual technique. But yeah, it's a okay film, basically a remake of the first one, really sort of plot structure. Also trying to make up for the bad efforts on Highlander 2, which was obviously a comical disaster, but weirdly quite enjoyable to watch. Just because so many edits of it. I don't think this comes with production notes. No, it doesn't. It's just a standard release. But I now own Highlander 1 to 3 on LaserDisc from Japan, where I've got the late release of Highlander 1 by Pioneer from like 1999, I think. Transfer on that's okay. I mean, it's not a major step up. I think the transfer is exactly the same as the US one. I don't know why I bought this actually, to be honest. I think I was trying to hunt down the Blu-ray, and I thought, I clicked on this and went, oh, I'll just save that to my watch list. It was like, again, 380 yen. I thought, I like the cover though. The cover's cool, and yeah, I thought, so I'll have it just to complete the collection. Oh, next up is a beauty. Now, this film I loved in the early 90s when it was like, it's all about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Turtles 2, Simpsons on Sky 1, and this movie came out, Teen Agent. Now, For Americans, this is called If Looks Could Kill, starring Richard Greco, playing a student who essentially goes to France because he failed his exam, I think, on that. He sort of couldn't pass his course or whatever. And to make up the points, he has to go to France to learn the language. And but he gets mixed up because his name is the same name as a British agent called Richard Corden or something like that. And obviously, his name's Richard. I think that's the whole ploy. And then essentially they gets confused and he becomes a secret agent, right? So I've not seen this since I was a kid, and I've been wanting to watch this for a long time. I know there's an HD copy floating around, like a 720p of a TV rip. But yeah, I'm putting on watch this again. This is Pan and Scan, Dolby Surround. Don't think it doesn't come with a trailer. Transfer's okay. I mean, it's Pan and Scan obviously, but Pan and Scan obviously you get often a bit better than the widescreen ones because you're using more of the lines of resolution. But it appeared a little bit too soft. Yeah, written by Fred Decker, who directed RoboCop 3 and Monster Squad. So yeah, I've watched a bit of it, and you can see in the opening it's got Teen Agent, instead of Looks Could Kill. But yeah, I like the cover design as well. Very Bond-like, with this sort of car and stuff and a bit of action. The lady there she's in Dune, isn't she? Little lady there. Can't remember. She's something else she's in. I can't remember what else. She's popped up in quite a few things. Next up we have Star Trek Insurrection. I got the Obi slip as well. Don't worry. Some people get really fussy when you buy something that doesn't have the Obi slip from Japan. I'm not only too fussed. If I want it, and if I want the title and it's cheap and it's missing like the Obi sleeve, I'm like, yeah, I'll have it. This is from 1999. It's released from Japan, obviously. AC3 track, Dolby Digital, of course, widescreen. No trailer, I'm afraid. Kind of bland back section. There's no pictures from the movie, just like the cast really. But it goes for quite a lot of money. I got this for like 1,000 yen, I believe, and it sells like 70-80 quid. I think the US one goes for a little bit more because it doesn't have Japanese subtitles at the bottom. But yeah, not the greatest Star Trek film, is it? And the only one I own on LaserDisc. I've got a whole complete collection on like Blu-ray and some of them on 4K. But yeah, the thing I love about the movie is the score by Joe Goldsmith. It's my favourite Star Trek score. But yeah, the movie is basically one long TV episode, which basically isn't very good. But I might give it another go soon anyway. So pitch transfer is pretty good as well. But yeah, obviously late release, they're always pretty good by that point. As mentioned earlier, another Superman film. This is the Japanese Superman 3 from 1983. So it came out the same year as the movie because there's no other date on it apart from 1983. On the LaserDisc database, it doesn't actually list its actual release date. So it must be the first one they put out. Yeah, great cover, obviously. Chris Reeve getting strangled by the machine at the end, and obviously gatefold cover, which is pretty sweet. No idea what this means. Probably production notes, I would imagine. Has no chapter stops. Superman 2 one from 1989 had no chapter stops either, and so does Teen Agent. No chapter stops. It's weird. The Japanese didn't seem to jump onto that, that frequently back in that time. But with the US one, they always kind of used to having chapter stops. That was the beauty of LaserDisc. On the back, the back's not too bad. Some cool stills of Chris. Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, I used to have this ages ago. I sold it off to a collector who didn't have a LaserDisc player, just wanted this. That one was kind of laser rot all the way through. So if people don't know what laser rot is, basically when the gluing process of the discs, I think oxygen gets into it or something kind of disrupts it, and you can Google it, but basically end up with like a speckly picture, and the sound distorts when it's really bad, and you can see little spots on the disc or like misting effect. But yeah, this is completely clean. I've checked all his discs, he's all nice and clean as well, which is good. But yeah, Superman 3, I still say is an underrated movie. Up next, now this one you don't see that often on eBay. It's the Pan and Scan Directors Approved True Lies. I've seen it pop up, a number of times back in the day, but not recently because the widescreen version is so common. It's like it's worth like a couple of pounds. This one I paid 500 yen, mint condition, same art, same sleeve as the widescreen one, so you get the same kind of like gatefold cover with production notes and a couple of trailers at the end. Picture quality is really good on this. Obviously James Cameron's approved the pan and scanning. It's a Super 35 movie, so you're not losing too much of the picture, and it's super sharp as well. So yeah, it's I'll show some images of it so you can kind of see the quality of it. Also difficult to judge it properly because I'm filming it with my camera. Annoying thing is like trying to capture LaserDisc now, it's a bit annoying because with my Apple Mac, they've changed the software or the OS where it doesn't pick up analog signals anymore. I have to sort of capture it through a video capture device. You couldn't just plug a USB thing in with like phono inputs to do it anymore. It's really annoying. But yeah, it's I'm glad to have this in my collection. Also now you can see this now on Disney Plus in HD. I think it's only the other day they're going to be releasing some 4K later this year, thankfully, you know, and The Abyss in a couple of months, I believe. Up next is Terminator 2, one of the most, you know, most popular title to be released on the LaserDisc format. It's been re-released so many times. There's box sets, there's CAV box sets, there's theatrical cut release, director's cut release, or special edition as they call it. This is a very late release. This is from 1998. This is the theatrical cut, but with a Dolby Digital soundtrack. A week later, it's also a Japanese one. It's missing the blue OB sleeve, unfortunately. Japanese squeeze edition of it came out a week later, which is the one everyone wants. It goes for a lot of money because it's 16:9. There's a few, you know, a handful of titles on LaserDisc was released were 16:9, so you don't have to zoom in on the picture. It'll just go, you know, as you do with like DVD. But if you play it on a, you know, regular CRT TV, like 4:3, it would just look all squished and you wouldn't be able to unstretch it or unsqueeze it, as it were. But yeah, so this is theatrical cut as mentioned. I think it says ABC at the bottom there. I think there's a couple of trailers included. This again goes for quite a bit of money. The US version of this, you can rarely find it, or the Dolby Digital theatrical cut release. So this is a remaster as well. So it's a bit better picture than the big box set they did a couple of years prior. So I believe this master is the same one I use on the squeeze one, but just to get the benefit of, you know, 16:9. And probably the one that's on the, well no, the Muse High Vision one is, I think it's the wrong colour, I believe, like the grading of it, but you do get it in high definition. But yeah, it's quite cool to have that. Bit beat up, but I didn't pay much for it, and most people charge quite a lot for this. And finally, we have Dune box set from Japan. Again, cost me bugger all. Money, very, very cheap, but it's also the weight of it, you know what I mean? Trying to get it to ship over here is always a bit more costly. This comes with the theatrical cut and the TV cut, the Alan Smithy version. Well, obviously David Lynch removed his name off it. Comes with a nice, take that off there. So basically, the TV cut comes on 2 discs, so it's like part 1 and part 2, as you can see. On the back, it's obviously got production notes and side and chapter stops, basically. I'll shoot close up to these anyway, because it's really loud, light keeps bouncing off them. Very difficult to judge. You're looking at a very tiny window on your camera. And the theatrical cut, it's got the classic poster, which I love that poster, it's really good. The PAL widescreen version makes use of this cover. This is from 1994, so this is the first time people got to see Dune in widescreen, and very sort of grainy image here we've got here of oh god, what's his name? Paul Atreides, sorry, yeah. Paul! Nothing in there. It does come with a booklet. Here we go. As you can see, probably a waste of space there, just kind of squeeze everything to the top. Yeah, it's got lists of cast, characters. Obviously, when the film came out, people were completely confused and they gave out information sheets about who's who in the film. Yeah, and you actually got like breakdown of scenes and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, it comes with a theatrical trailer. The picture transfer is not good. Cast list as well. So yeah, so this is obviously, I mentioned the first time it came out on LaserDisc, so many people imported it. And the picture itself, I'll cut to it in a sec, is all kind of like, actually weirdly like this cover. It's kind of shunted to the top and all the subtitles at the bottom. And the picture is very green. So the weird green filter to it. It's very bizarre. And then when you punch in on the picture, it doesn't look great. And Universal would release it in 1987 on LaserDisc in the USA, which is kind of remastered with an AC3 track, Dolby Digital. Yeah, pictures far more faithful to the actual theatrical look. and the picture's sharper and cleaner. So I don't know what I did with that disc. I think I may have given it away to a friend. But the TV cut on this is really nice. Once again, 4:3, you can't get it in widescreen. It's always funny seeing the TV cut where they've got these kind of not lobby cuts, but like concept art to sort of show the movie. They keep repeating the same shots, zooming in on things. But once you sort of get past that sort of like prologue sequence to sort of explain the world of Dune and its history, yeah, the picture's nice. It's really good. Sometimes you can kind of see there's a shift in quality where it goes from theatrical print to like an extended print. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not a great movie, is it, the TV cut? I think it kind of annoys everyone. And it's a bit incomplete where you've got like the blue glow to their eyes isn't like consistent throughout. But hopefully one day, I know David Lynch has been talking about like, oh, if he got an opportunity now to do a new recut of Dune, he would do it, but I don't think he'd be given the opportunity. But it'd be good to see a nice combination of the two. I mean, there's a fan cut, was it Spice Diver, something like that, which kind of addressed both of them, sort of try and combine elements of both to make the best cut. I think that's probably the best way to go. That is kind of it for now of my collection. Yeah, there's a couple of things I kind of missed. I've got some other LaserDiscs coming, but I need like a couple here and there. I think I may just like buy a bunch from Japan and just get it shipped by ship, you know, instead of like by DHL or what was the other one? EMS, something like that. It costs a fortune. It costs like 60, 70 pounds just for postage when you pay peanuts for these discs. I suppose it kind of makes up for the fact that if you're going to import discs like really cheap, you're going to have to pay high on the postage. So would you rather pay high like for local, and it may end up being the same amount of cost, but I think you kind of still win importing them. But by having them posted by ship, it takes about 3 months, but you know, it save yourself so much money. But yeah, it's but if you have any questions, if you're confused about the LaserDisc format, leave a comment below and I'll try and explain it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back soon with some more. Bye bye.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and click the bell to be notified of my latest retrospectives and reviews. Big thanks to my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to get involved and gain early access to my content and exclusive videos, then follow the link below.